We look upon the African savanna and we believe we understand it. A vast expanse of grass, baked by an relentless sun. An ancient stage for a timeless drama, dominated by the predator and the prey, the lion, the elephant, the giraffe. We see this as a world of giants, a landscape of brute force, shaped by the grand impersonal forces of weather and time. A map we believe is fixed, a story we think we have read. But this is an illusion. Beneath the thundering hooves, beneath the acacia's shade, there is another power, a force so pervasive yet so overlooked that it has rewritten the very rules of this continent. It is not large, it is not fearsome. It is seen, when it is seen at all, as a pest, a whisper in the dust, a tiny, pale, soft-bodied creature blind and fleeing the light, the termite. We associate this name with destruction, a quiet, insidious force that turns strength into dust, that consumes our homes from within. A simple, primitive insect. But what if this perception is wrong? What if we are mistaking a citizen for a civilization? What if we told you that this tiny, blind creature is, in fact, an architect, a farmer, a climate engineer? What if we said that it builds not just nests, but city-states? Mega structures so vast they are visible from space. And what if we told you that this pest holds the single greatest secret to life on the savanna, that without it, this vast green expanse would collapse into a sterile red desert? Look closer. That mound of earth, rising from the plains like the tomb of a forgotten king. It is not a tomb, it is a city. It is a lung. It is a living machine. And the story of its creation is not one of biology alone. It is one of engineering, of geology, and of a collective intelligence that has been terraforming the planet for 100 million years. The individual termite is almost nothing. It is a sterile worker, blind, living its short life in total darkness. It has no thought, no plan, no self. But the colony is an entirely different entity. It is a superorganism, a singular intelligence emerging from the interaction of millions. A queen, deep within the central chamber, can live for decades, a living heart, birthing up to 30,000 new citizens every single day. This is not a family. It is an empire. And this empire has a singular obsession: survival. In the African savanna, survival means solving two impossible problems: the crushing, fluctuating temperature and the scarcity of food and water. The termite's solution is not to adapt to the environment, it is to change it. The mound begins. It is not built with wood, but with the earth itself. Millions of workers, each no larger than a grain of rice, form a living conveyor belt. They descend. They move into the subterranean world, a meter, 5 meters, 10 meters down. They gather microscopic particles of clay and sand, mixing each one with their own saliva, a biological cement. They carry this single grain back up and place it. Then they return. This process never stops. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. A relentless, patient act of creation. The structure rises, millimeter by millimeter. This is not a random pile. It is a masterpiece of architectural design, oriented precisely to the sun. The broad sides face east and west to catch the morning and evening warmth, while the narrow edge faces the brutal midday sun, minimizing heat. But the true genius is hidden inside. This mound is not solid. It is a porous labyrinth of flues, vents, and chimneys. At its core, a massive central chimney rises from the subterranean nest. Surrounding it, a network of smaller, peripheral channels runs just beneath the mound's concrete-like surface. This is not a fortress. It is an engine. As the sun heats the outer walls, the air in the peripheral channels warms and rises. This movement creates a pressure differential, It pulls the old, hot, carbon dioxide-rich air from the deep subterranean chambers up through the central chimney, where it exhausts from the peak. This, in turn, creates a vacuum, sucking fresh, cool, oxygen-rich air down into the nest from microscopic pores at the mound's base. It is a passive, self-regulating geological-scale gas exchange system, a lung built of mud and spit the result. Outside, the savanna temperature can swing from over 40 degrees Celsius at noon to near freezing at night. But deep inside the nest, 3 meters below the ground, the temperature remains at a perfect, unwavering 30 degrees Celsius. The humidity is held at a constant 99%. It is a climate-controlled world. Why this obsession with precision? Why build a palace of such impossible complexity? The answer is the termites' greatest secret. They do not eat the wood they famously gather. Their jaws cannot digest the tough lignin. They are not destroyers. They are farmers. Deep within the humid, climate-controlled chambers, they cultivate vast, sprawling gardens of a specialized fungus, termitomyces. The workers gather dead wood and dry grass from the surface, bring it down, chew it into a pulp, and feed this to the fungus. The fungus, in its perfect environment, thrives. It breaks down the indigestible cellulose and lignin, converting it into nutrient-rich proteins and sugars. Then, and only then, the termites eat the fungus. This is agriculture, practiced in darkness on an industrial scale by a civilization that has been perfecting it for 50 million years. We humans, with our mere 10,000 years of farming, are beginners. The termite colony is a self-sustaining city, complete with climate control, food production, and a complex social structure. This is the immediate consequence, a sealed, perfect world. But the true impact, the world-shaping power, is what happens outside this citadel. This is the ecological domino effect. The mound itself is a fortress, built of clay particles mined from deep underground and bound with biological cement. It bakes in the sun until it is harder than concrete. It is impervious to the wind, to the rain, and to most predators. Aardvarks and pangolins, with their powerful claws, are the only creatures that can even attempt a breach. When the great savanna wildfires rage, scorching the earth and turning the world to ash, the mounds stand untouched. They are fireproof. Inside, the colony and its fungal gardens are perfectly safe. When the seasonal floods come, turning the plains into a vast, shallow sea, the mounds become islands. They are the only high ground, the only refuge. Snakes, lizards, and even small mammals will cluster on these earthen towers, waiting for the waters to recede. But the most profound change is invisible. It is happening deep in the soil. To build their towers, and more importantly, to water their fungal gardens during the brutal dry season, the termites must find water. They become miners. Their tunnels do not stop at the nest. They push deeper, 10 meters, 20 meters. In some regions, worker termites have been found tunneling 70 meters below the surface, reaching the deep water table, the very geological lifeblood of the continent. They bring this water back up, but they bring something else with it. With every microscopic grain of clay they carry to the surface, they are performing an act of geological reversal. The soils of the savanna are ancient. They are among the oldest on Earth. For millions of years, rainfall has leached them, washing the vital minerals, the phosphorus, the calcium, the potassium, deeper and deeper into the earth, far beyond the reach of any plant root. The surface soil is sterile, nutrient-poor. The termite, in its quest for water and clay, reverses this process. It acts as a biological plow, a geological elevator. It mines these lost minerals from the deep earth and brings them back to the surface, particle by particle. They are not just building with mud, they are building with fertilizer. Over centuries, this effect accumulates. The mound is not just a structure, it is a nutrient pump. The termites' waste, the rich soil from their fungal gardens, and the mineral-rich clay from the deep earth. It all concentrates in and around the mound. We jump forward in time, 100 years, 1,000 years. The original colony may have died, the mound abandoned, but its legacy is now permanent. Where there was once a single sterile plain, there is now a new landscape. We are looking at a world transformed. Look at the satellite images. Across the African continent, a pattern emerges. In the arid plains, you can see them. Millions of them, small, evenly spaced dots. From space, the work of this blind insect is visible. But zoom in. Around each and every mound, both active and abandoned, there is a green donut, a halo of life, a ring of lush, vibrant vegetation. These are islands of fertility. The soil on the mound is so rich in nutrients that it supports a completely different ecosystem. Trees like the acacia, which cannot survive on the poor soil of the plain, take root here. Bushes and richer grasses thrive. In a landscape defined by scarcity, the termite has created an oasis, and where there is life, more life comes. These nutrient islands become the cafeterias of the savanna. Warthogs and rhinos come to rub their bodies on the hard clay, absorbing the minerals. Antelope and zebra graze heavily on these richer grasses, and where the grazers go, the predators follow. A leopard, unable to find cover on the open plain, uses the abandoned mound as a lookout tower, its spotted coat blending with the textured earth. A family of meerkats, or mongooses, takes over the abandoned subterranean chambers, finding a pre-built, climate-controlled fortress. Cheetahs, the fastest runners, use the elevation of the mounds to scan the horizon for their next meal. The termite, an insect that lives its entire life in darkness, has become the central architect of the entire visible food web. It is the keystone of the keystone species, and the irony is profound. The creature we dismiss as a destroyer of wood is, in fact, the continent's greatest creator. By mining dead trees and grasses, they unlock the nutrients, the carbon, the nitrogen trapped within. They prevent these nutrients from being locked away. They are the great recyclers, and by mining the deep earth, they are the great refertilizers. What would this world be without them? Imagine an Africa without this engineer. The dead wood would pile up uneaten, locking away its life. The soils would become irreversibly poor, leached by eons of rain. The water would run off the hard, baked surface, causing massive erosion rather than soaking in. The green islands would vanish. The diverse vegetation would collapse into a single, hardy, impoverished grassland. The great herds would have nothing to sustain them. The predators would have nothing to hunt. The savanna itself, in the form of we know it, would not exist. It would be a red, wind-blasted desert. The termite did not just move into the savanna. It built it. We stand on the shoulders of giants. We look to the mountains, the rivers, the oceans. We see a world shaped by volcanism and tectonics, by ice and by wind. We see ourselves as the only true engineers, the only intelligence capable of bending the planet to our will. We build cities of concrete and steel, measuring our power by the height of our towers. But we are late to this game. This tiny blind insect has been practicing sustainable agriculture for 50 million years. It has mastered passive climate control. It has built self-sustaining city-states that last for centuries. It has engineered a superorganism that acts with a singular, brilliant purpose. And in doing so, it has terraformed an entire continent, creating one of the most vibrant, diverse, and iconic ecosystems on Earth. From a simple blind instinct, a city is born. From a million tireless jaws, a civilization thrives. From a pile of mud and spit, a lung breathes. And from a subterranean empire, a continent is fed. The termite shows us that the history of Earth is not just geology, it is biology. The world was not shaped by inanimate forces alone. It was, and is, being sculpted moment by moment by its inhabitants. This makes us question everything. What is intelligence? What is civilization? We who build our cities by destroying the world around us, while they build their world by creating it. The mounds of macro terms are more than just dirt. They are living monuments, a testament to an ancient collective power that holds the very land in its grasp. The story of Africa is not just written in the tracks of lions. It is built layer by layer by the original ecosystem engineer. But this is just one of the millions of stories of engineering happening beneath our feet. What other ecosystem engineer do you think has shaped our world? Leave your theory in the comments. If you enjoyed discovering the hidden forces that truly control the planet, subscribe to Ecosystem Engineers and activate the bell, because nature is never still.